There are a lot of different tree tutorials out there, and if you're clicking on this video, perhaps you've watched a few, like bdubs or gradients. They typically tell you to follow a few simple steps. For a reference picture, get a block palette, follow the reference picture, and voila. Some other tree tutorials give you a specific tree to follow as a template, and they do a step-by-step tutorial on how to make that one tree. But sometimes, they aren't of much help, for a few reasons. For one, reference pictures are two-dimensional, so while they can give you a silhouette, they can't give you a full 3D view of the tree. You can follow a reference picture to a T, but when you walk a few paces to the left and see the new angle, well, the tutorials that give you pre-made trees to copy usually address this by ensuring the tree that you're supposed to follow looks good on all sides. But unfortunately, by copying, you don't done. You won't be able to make your own trees. So I'm going to try to address these issues in today's tutorial. It won't be the most comprehensive, but hopefully, it'll be more helpful to you. Now, boot up Minecraft and get a creative world that's probably already littered with attempt at trees. Then take the following blocks. One full block, one star, one slab, one wall, one trapdoor, and one glass pane. Don't bother with making a colour palette yet, because the first thing they need to work on is the silhouette. No matter how good the colours melt together, if the silhouette is off, it won't look like a tree. For this first part, you only have to build on one plane, which is to say, build it as if you're only building on one row of blocks. This is just for the sake of simplicity. We'll be adding the three-dimensionality later on. Find the reference picture, and use full blocks to make the general shape of the trunk before using all the other blocks to make the slope sound natural. Slabs are for more horizontal parts of the curve, while walls and glass panes are for more vertical parts of the curve, and trapdoors and stairs are adaptable for different parts of the curve. If you have issues with figuring out the trunk of a tree, trace the trunk form of your reference picture with your finger before finding out the best way to replicate it in Minecraft. Once you've got the basic two-dimensional silhouette down, it's time to make it 3D. At the moment, everything exists on one straight line, so rotate that line until it's a diagonal, and adjust the locations of the blocks accordingly. Ensure that you're using the same blocks as before, and even if the X and Z coordinates of the block change, the Y of the block should still remain the same. Then take a look at it from different angles to check, and we're good to start on the leaves. Take a different block to make it less confusing, and begin making hollow little cuboids atop the branches. Ensure that you remove all corners to the cuboids. For example, if one face of the cuboid looks like this, then remove the corners like so. There's just two things that you need to note. Firstly, try to make all the cuboids of different sizes. And secondly, remember to check how your tree looks like from different angles. Sometimes, it'll look a little lacking. And if it does, don't worry, just add another cuboid to patch it up. Once you're satisfied with the overall silhouette, then, and only then, should you move on to texturing with colours. I think that this part is pretty self-explanatory, just replace the blocks that you'd like to replace. But here's a few tips nonetheless. For one, you have to remember that leaves tend to block out light. Not a lot of light, of course, but they do block out some light, which is why the upper parts of the tree tend to be shrouded in darkness. So, to complement the shadows, you can add some light at the bottom of your tree. Another thing is that leaves tend to be more dense at the bottom of the tree, so you can consider using opaque blocks at the bottom rather than leaf blocks to emulate that effect. And lastly, feel free to use glass within the hollow pockets of the cuboids or on the cuboid's exterior to give the leaves a little more colour. And with just a little more decorating, we're done! As I said before, I know this isn't the most comprehensive guide. There are other types of trees out there that don't follow this formula, like coniferous trees or willow trees. That being said though, I do hope that you enjoyed this video, and hopefully this will help you in your future tree building. Have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!